Hey, so today we're gonna do a short little video on how to replace joints. And I don't really know what to call this, but anyway, I was doing replacements in Overwatch as usual, and then I usually don't really play competitive that much for the rest of the season. But then I got inspired, and I started looking at my Overwatch shelf, and, you know, these are some of the best figures Hasbro ever made, I think. I love them so much. However, Junkrat here, as you can see, he's fully painted up. He used to look really bland. And I'll post like a comparison pic here so you can see what I did. But anyway, I did change the arm a little bit so he had a little bit more of a bend here. Like it used to be like there, and now he can like bend up there. It's not really anywhere close to 90. It's more like a generous 45 degrees. Well, Junkrat wields his grenade launcher with his arm like 90% straight, and it's just a really bad elbow joint. So I figured I would replace this entire elbow section with this joint here. I have like a big bag of these like sort of Rebel Tech joints, and I found one that was really close in like to the skin tone of the figure, and then I'll just paint it up so it looks a bit grimy like the rest of him. I don't really think it's gonna make a difference. I mean, come on, Hanzo here, for instance, he has different elbow joints depending on which arm, so I figured it wouldn't really hurt to just experiment and try to give him this Rebel Tech joint for the elbow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off the arm like here, and then actually I might what should I do? I'll probably cut it off like around here because I want to keep like a tiny little bit of this section here, because then I'm going to Dremel out a little crevice so the joint can, instead of just sitting like that, I want it to like scoop into like a little crevice instead. But there's a peg going down from the shoulder here as well. I don't know how deep it goes, but I want to try to avoid hitting that with a drill, and then I'll just plug this into the arm and we'll see how that turns out. So this is it, the point of no return, and it's never completely easy, so let's just cut off the arm. And I want to try to not cut too deep into the this bit as well. But anyway, here's the arm off. Let's just... Okay, what am I working with? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to... Where did my joint go? There it is. I'm gonna drill a hole. I might cut off like a tiny little bit here, like a little nub. And then I'll hollow this out. I don't really know if I should, but it's on there really solidly. Maybe I can use that then to just drill a hole in. Alright, so now we're gonna hollow out the arm for starters, and for that we're using my trusty rotary tool. And the power isn't on, I forgot about that.
There we go. Ready!
You see how we've just created like an indent where this can sort of slip in a little bit, yeah, like so, rather than that, just so the connection becomes a bit more natural. And now we're gonna drill a hole equal to the thickness of this peg here. So I have a 3mm drill bit here, and I'm just measuring it up like so. You can see it's like around the same size. I think this is like slightly thicker, but that doesn't really matter, because plastic is quite flexible. So if it's like a tiny little bit wider, it really doesn't make a difference. So now the key is, I don't want to drill too deep because I'm worried about hitting the connecting peg, like shoulder peg. So we'll just start off. So I think I hit it there actually. Let's see how deep we can go with the Rebel Tech joint. Oh, still pretty deep, and it's really quite tight as well. So I think if we just remove like a little section, like maybe like to there. Sorry, this camera angle is really awkward. It's gonna sit snug. So as you can see here, I shortened the peg a fair amount. So let's see. So it's pretty snug there. Let's see how that... I mean, it looks pretty bad from like here, but as soon as this arm goes on, I sincerely hope it's going to look a lot better. But anyway, I mean, I will gain quite a lot of flexibility in the elbow. So let's do the same thing with this, and I'm really scared of hitting the inside too much when I Dremel it out. I went a little bit deeper on this one, and now let's drill a hole as well. Okay, as you can see here, the entire arm is coming apart, and that's because this entire forearm is a separate piece. So I'm going to have to try to get all of this out somehow, and then it's gonna have to sit more like that, I guess. Is the length still gonna be alright? I have to sit quite far in, I think. But anyway, let's try to pull that out, and I have some pliers here. So I ended up just cutting off the plastic with a knife, and now I'm gonna drill a hole straight into it. I tried to pull it out while after heating it up, but it didn't really work, so... Oops. It's not really flat, so it's a bit difficult, maybe. I'm just gonna flatten it out a little bit. There we go, a lot flatter. Ooh, might have gone a little bit too deep there. With all the plastic out. Now we attach the arm, like so. And look! Hardly even noticeable, and will be even less so after I just do a little bit of dry brushing. Now, is the arm length the same? I guess it doesn't really matter considering this is like all cybernetic and stuff, but I sort of want the thumbs to still line up. They don't really. I guess we could, or actually, maybe the arm is just longer. I'm gonna have to Google that. So after double checking, Junkrat's mechanical arm is actually longer than his regular arm, so this doesn't really bother me then. Plus it does cover where the old elbow should be. So yeah, we are pretty much set. We have a nice sorta slightly less than 90-degree bend now. So yeah, we're gonna repaint this, but there's also something that bothers me a little bit. So we take this gun here, and now we can hold it 90 degrees. But you see how the arms, the hands sort of bounce down to the weight. That sucks just a little bit, so I'm gonna tighten up that hole. And how to do that is, I have this plastic right here, and we're going to put that in like so, and then we're gonna force the hand back in. And the hand is a lot more stable, and it doesn't make the gun droop anymore. Easy peasy. Wow, this does look so much better, holy crap. I guess we move on to the painting aspect. So for that, I'm going to disassemble this again real quick. It sits in pretty tight there. So what we're gonna do now is, I have some sort of rough-ish grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna sloppily just like sand a little bit all over the thing to give it some texture. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want the paint to have something to grab onto. Like any uneven surface makes it so much easier for the paint to stick. So I'm going to just take some regular Vallejo Model Color Black. So I have some black on my brush here, as you can see, and then I'm going to remove almost all of it. We're just gonna, still a bit heavy, just gonna speckle that on like so. And I know this looks awful right now, I'm gonna fix that. Let that dry for just a couple of seconds, and now we just push tissue against it. I'm not wiping, I'm just like pushing it hard against it. almost like we're gently just tinting it black. I don't like this one focused spot here right on the seam, so... There we go, I think that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Like, if you were to get it, you wouldn't really think too much of it, and then I'm also probably gonna keep the elbow bent like this anyway. So yeah, that was my little random customizing experiment, but it turned out really good, and I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something maybe.
Back for more. Now we're cooking with gas. You know, I never would have taken you for someone with such a homely home.
If you don't like it, stay in your